All right, with our brand new document set up and ready to go, let's go ahead and start designing. And I'm going to start with the front cover first and click once on this panel, this front cover shape that we have here, and drag over the image we have for the cover. And the reason why I clicked here is just so that way it brings in that image right above that shape, and I can hold on Alt and click between the two to mask it and keep it within that shape, just to kind of see how my color is gonna, or how my cover is gonna lay out here. And I want to scale this as big as I can while at the same time giving enough space between where the fold is and where the right edge is going to be, that we don't accidentally lose any of her arm or the board in the fold if it doesn't get folded perfectly, or trim off any of this paddle if the trim misses the trim just a touch. So that's about as big as I comfortably want to make that. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and scale this into place, and I'm going to unmask this now because it's actually hiding from the bleed as well. So I'll hit Alt and click between those to undo that mask. And now what I want to do is create a blend, a seamless blend between the sky and, we need a little bit more sky up here that we don't have. So what I'm going to do is Command click on the new layer icon, and what that's going to do is put a new blank layer below the layer I have selected now. I'll hit the eye to get my eyedropper tool, and I'll click as close to that edge as I can get without turning black here. And that way I've got a matched color from the sky, and I'll fill this layer 2 with that blue color. So I've sampled that on my foreground color here. I'll hit Alt Delete to fill that. And now it's almost perfectly seamless, but there is a little bit of a transition. So now what I'm going to do is apply a mask to this image. So I'll click on that image. I'll come down here and click on the layer mask. Making sure I'm selected here, I'm going to hit the letter G to get my gradient tool. I'll hit the letter D to get my default swatches, and now I'm going to hit the letter X to swap my fill and my stroke, so that way my black fill is on front. Then I'm going to make sure that I'm using my foreground to transparent gradient right here. And now what's going to happen is as I click and drag down, I'm painting essentially with a black gradient that then goes from black to transparent. And what that's doing is it's masking. So whatever color is behind here, let's say I had, any color at all, it's going to blend from that sky to whatever's below it. So I'll just delete that layer real quick and bring back my blue. So now I've got a great canvas area, a real good spot to put that paddleboard rentals title. So again, looking at that sample image we had at the beginning of this, let me just pull it back up real quick. This is what we're designing for. So really our whole call to action needs to be about 2 inches tall. From right here, this helicopter tours, I actually measured that. That's about 2 inches tall. So what I'm going to do here is hit the letter U to get my rectangle tool. I'm just going to start to drag a little bit. I'll hide that. I'll hit Command T to get my free transform. And what I'm going to do is change my height and type in exactly 2IN for 2 inches. And now I know that this box is 2 inches tall. I'll hit Command Shift and the right bracket key to bring this layer all the way to the front. And I'm going to drag this up to where that trim mark is and drag down a guide. So now I know that my title really needs to be within this box if I want it to show up in front of everything and not get trimmed off. The other thing I could consider doing is bringing her up into that space, because if we look at, coming back to this again, a couple things will catch our eyes. One is we've got this bright color here on helicopter tours, or the big words raft. The other thing that catches people's eyes are people. So if we had a human, a face or a head right here kind of peeking up, that would also be prone to get attention. So that would be one way to do this, but I like it better with her kind of grounded down here at the bottom. And then that gives us plenty of space up here for that title. So let's go ahead and add a title now. I'll hit the letter T. I'll click once up here, and I'll start typing in paddleboard rentals. Change my color from pink to white here. And this is a really good spot to save. If we haven't saved yet, I'll go ahead and hit Command S to save my file. And I'm just going to nudge this into place a little bit using my keyboard shortcuts, Command Alt and up and down arrow to change my leading, and then Command Shift and the period key or the comma key to change my font sizes. And I'll just kind of play with this until I get it where I like it. And for right now, I'm just working on my text placement and getting things kind of in place here. So I'm not going to spend too much time yet. All right, so we'll have our title here. And then everything else is looking good there. And now for the back side, we need to put in some contact information. So I'm going to jump over to my assets folder, and I've got this text file with all of the rental assets and all of the text that we need. So for the back, we're going to put the directions, and we're going to put their address as well as their Facebook page. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of this text. Command C to copy. Come back over here, hit the letter T to get my text tool, and I'll click and drag to get my text box and hit Command V to paste. I'll hit Command A to highlight all of that, and then I'm going to change this size back down to something maybe like 14 points and just see if that gets us closer. And that's not bad. We're still clipping a little bit, so I'll click once on this. I'll grab his handle and drag it down a little bit just to show as much of that text as possible. And I'm not too worried yet about the design. I'm just kind of getting things in place so I know where they're going to go. And then the next thing we're going to do is this inside flap. So when you open the cover, if you're looking at the front cover here and you were to open that up, this panel is the first thing you would see. So what we're going to drop in here is some about text. So we'll grab this text right here. And then same thing, we'll just click and drag and we'll make another text box. And again, we're going to call this good. So for this first section, this first video, I'm just dropping in some content right here. And then in the next one, we're going to go ahead and continue refining the design. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And in the next video, we're going to start creating some custom design elements and fleshing out this outside panel.